I'm 65 years now. I had this problem. In fact, it's unknown to me. When I had it, it's unknown to me. Though healing comes from God, actually, as we all know. But settings, we should not, immediately think that is spiritual.
The most worrisome thing is the stage at which the patient presents. Because most of the patients I see, they come very late.
For us, when they come like that, there's nothing much we do, because at that point, we cannot do much. We rather ask them to see the general surgeons around.
My name is Robert Asowe Atimpeh. In this assignment, I'm talking about a condition that really matters to you: breast cancer. It is a disease that's often seen as spiritual, leading most affected persons to prayer camps and shrines to seek for healing. In October every year, there's always a serious drive by health educators to raise awareness about breast cancer.
This month, because the screening is free, we had a lot of clients that comes willingly to examine their breast. And in this month, so far, we have 191 clients who comes by themselves for the screening.
The self-examination help the women or people to find wherever they have seen changes in their breast, for them to report to the hospital. Then we also start from there, because if you don't do the examination, you don't know what is happening in the breast. So for early detection and to save lives.
How frequent should they do this?
It should be every month after your menstruation, 3 days, 5 days after your menstruation, you start doing. Because during menstruation, there are a lot of changes in the body. So if you do it that time, you may feel maybe something is wrong. There may be, because of the menstruation, there will be hormonal changes. So after the menstruation, 3 days to 5 days after menstruation, you can do that.
Because of these campaigns, many are now aware of the existence of this life-taking disease. However, a number of persons still do not attach any form of seriousness to it. Breast cancer affects millions across the globe, making it one of the most prevalent cancer among women. Breast cancer is taking precious lives away. Breast cancer kills. In Ghana, it is considered the leading cause of death among women, accounting for about 15%. According to the World Health Organization, breast cancer has become the most diagnosed form of cancer globally, accounting for nearly 12%, and it is the leading cause of cancer-related deaths. In 2020, Globacam reported that Ghana recorded 4,482 new breast cancer cases. Out of that figure, 2,055 persons were killed by the disease. Health experts say most of these deaths could have been avoided if they were detected and treated earlier.
Ma Becky, I'm 65 years now.
Meet Ma Becky. Becky is a retired nurse. Life after retirement, many believe, should be fun and relaxing, especially with grandchildren around you. Becky was enjoying a good life, an easy one, at her own pace when she retired from her nursing profession in 2018.
When I wake up after my devotion and the other sort of things, I just take my breakfast. I go around, I do some exercise, I walk, I sit, I stand, something like that. And then after that, I used to watch telly.
Little did Becky know this will ever happen.
2020, I slept. And when I wake up, I just slept on my stomach. And when I was waking up, then I felt some pain under my breast. So immediately I just woke up and I started, having the examination. And I got to know that I have a lump. Yes, so I consulted one of my, the nurses, and then she also did the examination, and then I got to know that I have a lump.
It was in 2020, at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic when Becky felt some pain within her breast one morning. It was a big change for her, and she was curious to know more about the lump she had found in her breast. Pain in the breast is often considered to be a symptom of breast cancer when the disease gets into an advanced stage. Becky said what she felt was so strange to her.
I used to check my breasts, on and off, but it just came all of a sudden. I didn't feel anything.
But after a series of scans and tests were done, she was later told by her doctor that the pain was caused by the lump she found, which was cancerous.
I was told to do biopsy. For that period, I could not make it because of the COVID. All the hospitals were, alarmed. So I just suspended it for a while, but I was on a treatment at the hospital. But later, I got to know that the thing is becoming big even when I was taking the medication. The first lump I saw, the lump became 2. So the doctor was not satisfied. So within a few months, the thing has, so they just want to know how. And I started with the procedures. I did the biopsy. I came back home. In 2 weeks, I was called for the results. So when I went, they told me it was a cancer.
It is an undisputed fact that this confirmation from a doctor, sorry, it is cancer, will usually send chills down one's spine. Becky was constantly in the lookout for a positive outcome, but that never came per the results.
When you are being told like this, you know how you feel, yes. But all the same, when I was on the field, I was not all that panic.
As a Christian, Becky has a strong belief that God is the healer, but that did not lay her to seek solutions at any prayer camp for her condition.
Healing comes from God, but settings we should not, immediately think that it's spiritual or it's a curse or something like that.
Her faith rather gave her more courage to push for treatment to begin.
They told me I'll have a chemo because I got into the third stage. And the third stage, in fact, is very serious as such. So I started a chemo. And then the first week, I have the chemo and I have some oral medications. And I came home. So I go for chemotherapy every 3 weeks.
Becky knew the consequences of not seeking early treatment. So she allowed doctors to carry on with every bit of the treatment despite her pains.
The chemo, when I went, my hair started, getting off my skin. As they told me, everything really appeared. And then with the medication, the side effect of the medication will be vomiting, and that's all. In fact, it's not easy. But by the grace of God, I was able to come out. So the 4th chemotherapy, when I went, I was admitted. They didn't allow me to come home. I have 6 cycles of the chemo. I went again for the lab analysis. I did the ECG and all that perfectly. The surgery went on.
For Becky, it was a period of pain and uncertainty.
I just gave up, but I didn't give up like I'm going and I won't come back. No, I know I will come back because once there's solution to remove the breast and I'll be alive, I just gave up to God that whatever comes in, but by God so good, there was hope. So this is how mine came.
With timely support from family and friends, she eventually had her chemotherapy to remove her left cancerous breast. And this turned out really well at the Peace and Love Hospital in Kumasi.
It can happen to anybody. It's not for rich people. It's not for poor people. It's a disease. So anybody can have it. Nowadays, the men, you two are having it. There's hope. There's life. Once we have survived, they too will survive. But when you stay home for long, it's where that everything ends there.
Becky has gained her life back. That was the Becky story. But it is not always a simple matter of feeling pain, acting fast by screening and treating, and then walking freely. Breast cancer has landed many in severe pain, hospital, or in the grave. Here is Auntie Ajua, not her real name, but she lives in Doma. About 9 months ago, she lost a close friend to breast cancer. Before her friend's death, the two were living on the same compound, their rooms sitting next to each other. Auntie Ajua said her friend was diagnosed of breast cancer at a very late stage.
Before her breast began to swell, she used to wear her bra. Before she passed away, the second breast was also infected. Sometimes when she wakes up from bed, you will see her bed sheet soaked with blood and you will need to throw it away because it's stained. It was quite unfortunate and I felt bad for her. When we discovered it was breast cancer, she was already in terrible pain. You could sometimes hear her say, "If I die, it will be better for me."
She was put on palliative care, constantly in and out of hospitals. Her friend's pain, the memory of losing her gets Auntie Ajua worried.
This illness, I pray I never experience it because of how my friend suffered. I pray nobody I know or a member of my family is affected with breast cancer. As for my friend, she used to cry as I tried to sleep. I have to stay awake as she cries until the next morning. The lady went through severe pain. She really suffered. Dealing with breast cancer is not easy. I continue to self-examine my breast on a daily basis.
Breast cancer has been around for so many years, and to date, no one quite knows the exact cause of this disease. Researchers and scientists continue to work day and night, exploring new avenues, all in a bid to get to the root cause of this deadly disease and eradicate it once and for all. At the moment, the signs and symptoms sometimes gives a clue. With further scans and tests, the disease is proven and treatment begins. Doctors all over the world race against time to save patients from many treatable diseases including breast cancer. But year in, year out, millions of deaths are still being recorded. What could be some of the factors accounting for these deaths? Let's find out more.
Breast cancer can present in different ways.
Dr. Ebenezer Techi Akins is a surgeon at the Sunyani Regional Hospital.
They might see a lump in their breast. That's one of the common things. But a lot of time for breast cancer to become a lump for which the patient himself can actually feel the lump, it means that it has progressed a little bit.
For Dr. Akins, the signs and symptoms of breast cancer should be taken seriously.
Pain is not the commonest symptom. In fact, a lot of times breast cancers are not painful. So that's why people might not even come to the hospital, because they probably might have noticed the lump in their breast. And because it's not painful, they didn't really think that it was something serious. So they may not report until maybe they heard about the fact that breast cancer can present with a lump, and then they now want to come and check. Sometimes it can also show itself by way of discharge from the nipple of the breast, which is bloody. Of course, breast cancer is not the commonest cause of bloody nipple discharge, but then it can also present that way. And then the skin of the breast can undergo some changes in the presence of a breast cancer, like the nipple itself can begin to go inside the breast, and when that happens, it tells you that it's a late stage of the disease. The breast itself, the skin, can also begin to look like the skin of an orange. You see some small dimples on the skin. We call it peau d'orange. That's also a sign that the breast cancer has reached a late stage. And then, of course, it might not be the late stage as in nothing can be done about it. It means that it has advanced to a certain level. And then, of course, again, breast cancer can also present with ulcer on the breast. That means that the cancer has been able to eat through the breast tissues and even broken onto the skin of the breast and has become a wound, an ulcer. Sometimes also the patient may not see anything, but through an examination, or let's say there was a screening test that the person went to do, and then it was detected that he has a breast cancer. And a lot of times when those ones are seen, it's early.
So with the signs and symptoms you've mentioned, does it then mean that it varies from person to person?
Oh yes, of course. Not everybody who has breast cancer will present with the same thing. Like I said, somebody may come with lump in the breast. Somebody may come with pain. And I've already mentioned that pain is not that common. Usually, there's a particular cancer of the breast that presents with pain and swelling of the breast, and we call it inflammatory breast CA. It is one type of cancer of the breast that usually presents with pain. It can be mistaken for mastitis. They usually present with the same way: pain, swelling, and redness in a particular portion of the breast. But one distinguishing feature is that with inflammatory cancer of the breast, usually the swelling and the pain is widespread. It affects a large area of the of that particular breast. But usually with mastitis or abscess of the breast, which will present with pain and swelling of the breast, usually it's confined to a small area of that breast, and the redness of that area is in a confined area, small area. Of course, it can be extensive, but usually not the case. When it's extensive like that, there should be a suspicion that it could be an inflammatory breast CA, for which reason the various things must be done to distinguish.
The most disturbing notion out there is that breast cancer can be treated using several means. Many times, this delay early diagnosis and commencement of treatment at a health facility that will ultimately save lives. Dr. Akins has seen women report to the hospital with advanced stages of the cancer.
People present at different stages. Some present early, some present maybe not so early, some present late. There are some that also came. It was so advanced that nothing much could be done. Medically speaking, nothing much could be done. So what we did was eventually, of course, palliative care. That one, you try to alleviate the patient's symptoms and also help them with improvement of their quality of life. So this presentation has been, in different forms. If someone has discomfort in the breast or feels pain, or maybe has noticed a lump in the breast, the appropriate thing always is to go to the appropriate medical facility for a thorough examination to be done concerning the symptom the patient is seeing, so that if it's not breast cancer, then treatment can be given as early as possible. If it's breast cancer, then even it can be seen early, and then the appropriate treatment can be given.
The late reporting of the disease is not only peculiar to the Sunyani Regional Hospital. The same can be said by health workers in the Holy Family Hospital in Blewu and the St. Matthew's Hospital in Wamanafo.
My name is Dr. Frank Enogjemfi. I'm a senior surgical specialist, the head of department for surgery, and also in charge of the endoscopy unit, Holy Family Hospital, Blewu. The most worrisome thing is the stage at which the patients present. Because most of the patients I see, they come very late. Breast is ulcerated, it has spread to the lungs, it has spread to the liver. Only a few of them will come in the stage where we can't do surgery and give chemotherapy in an attempt to cure the disease. But most of the patients, from the very first day you see them and you confirm that it's breast cancer, you know that you are only going to do supportive care, which is not helpful.
They will often report when they actually have a problem. So, for example, there's a small breast mass. Because most of the time it's not tender, it's not painful, they would rather not come till they begin to feel maybe a pain, or they see an ulcer, maybe there's a sore on the breast, or when the breast is discharging with fluids before they come. For us, when they come like that, there's nothing much we do, because at that point we cannot do much. We are rather ask them to see the general surgeons around, and I can assure you that the general surgeons too, there's nothing much they will be able to do than rather do a further screening and possibly refer to see the oncologist in a bigger facility, maybe around here, maybe Kumasi, because that's the closest you can have an oncology unit.
The fight to contain the disease is a huge one. Currently in the Bono region, a combination of factors is making it difficult to fight the disease head-on. First, the use of non-pharmacological means to handle the disease causes so much delay in reporting it.
On the other side of it is the proliferation of all manner of information on FM stations, and then the information centers that you have in the communities. Sometimes you hear people selling all manner of drugs, claiming that they're able to cure breast cancer and all that. So we have people buying and applying these medications, and then they come at the stage where the cancer is so advanced that we can't do anything to help them. So that is our biggest challenge.
Patients continue to report in advanced stages. The situation is not getting any better.
Unfortunately, most of the patients that we see who come with breast cancer come in the advanced stages. Almost about 70 to 80% of the patients come to the hospital at the time that the cancer has spread to most of the vital organs in the body, like the lungs, the liver, sometimes to the brain, and even to the spine, and making them paralyzed. So they come in a state that we cannot do much to cure them, but to do what we call the palliative treatment. We just give them medication, supportive treatment to make their lives comfortable.
Dr. Akins has also attributed the issue of late reporting to referrals from other health facilities dotted across the region.
Those who come with late conditions, a lot of times is referrals from other district facilities. They come with an advance. A lot of times that is it.
The St. Matthew's Hospital is one of the smaller facilities that often refer patients to the Sunyani Regional Hospital. This facility serves several communities in the Doma East District. Dr. Emmanuel Amwa works as a medical doctor at this facility. He helped me trace the reasons why patients fail to report to the bigger facilities early.
When they come and you even tell them that, oh, this one is a little beyond me, can you please go further and see this doctor or this specialist or that, they assume that it means that the situation is worse. They are going to die or something, and then it becomes a funeral at your end. Sometimes you have to beg some of them. I remember we were doing this gynecological issues, and we went to the community, the cheap compounds. They have to trace people to their houses to beg them to go for referrals. Some go to the extent of going to the chief to tell them to report patient to the chiefs, for the chiefs to ask them to go for referral. It's just not easy at all.
Dr. Amwa says they end up in the community and the worst may happen.
A lot of these cases, they come from a very rural community, maybe very far from my end. So the moment I ask them to go and see or further refer them to go to these surgeons, a lot of them, they don't look happy. And we know that most of them don't end up going for the referral. Sometimes you are lucky, you see them again in a worse state. And usually at that point, there's nothing much you can do than to refer again. And they end up in the community, and unfortunately, they die out of their condition, which probably, if they had followed up earlier, might have saved some of them.
Having to watch your patient die whilst looking on helpless, and the constant reminder of seeing many of them go through similar ordeal is very difficult for a trained health practitioner to take. Doctors in the region are speaking with one voice. More education and campaigns beyond Pinktober.
Those NGOs that are running campaigns on these various cancer issues, cervical cancer, breast cancer, oftentimes they are also concentrated in the cities. They are in Accra doing campaign on breast cancer, where I know that the woman in Accra with issue with breast will likely seek intervention and will likely be diagnosed early. I find it difficult why those campaigns are rather concentrated in those places. I rather wish that the people involved in these campaigns will involve the community nurses, the people at the CHIP compounds, because they are rather getting into contact with those needy ones, those illiterate, poor peasant farmer who has issue with the breast and he doesn't even know who to discuss with.
Extra awareness must be created in the district and maybe the villages and towns that people don't really do a lot of health education there. Those areas can also be helped so that when they see some of these things, they can report early.
The World Health Organization has warned that about 2.74 million new cases will be recorded annually, and 857,000 persons will die from breast cancer by 2030 if current trends remain unchecked. Again, about 3.19 million new cases and 1.4 million deaths will be recorded by 2040. Health experts have constantly said breast cancer cannot be directly traced to any particular cause. The Food and Drugs Authority in the last few weeks warned Ghanaians over the use of unapproved drugs. But do unapproved drugs and some supplements have any connection with breast cancer?
Most things we take into our bodies are likely to have side effects. Even the regular food we think is okay food we eat could have adverse side effects on the person. So if I advise, if anybody is going to take any supplement, for example, please take a supplement that is approved, which has gone through the Food and Drugs Board, which the Ghana Health Service has actually signed and approved to be on the market. Because if, for example, we take in supplements which have a high side effect, it causes a lot of problems for us. Because one thing is that these drugs on the market, which have been approved by the FDA, for example, we've gone through studies. Scientists have understood the makeup of these products, filtered them to make their side effects minimum, if not zero. So the other ones that have not been approved, it could be that they don't have any little side effects, which might not be adverse or good enough. But we can't tell because they haven't been approved and we haven't undergone studies to know the side effects. Those drugs that have not been studied and haven't been approved, they are likely to cause diseases that probably have not even been discovered yet. And those diseases can be very, very difficult to treat, especially when a patient comes in and cannot actually let us know that this is what they took or they've been taking a specific thing off the market. So it'd be better if everybody was taking approved drugs which have been studied and gone through the right process, and which will be good for their health.
You mentioned diseases, including breast cancer.
Oh yeah, to an extent, yeah. There have been cohort studies, for example, that have shown that the foods we eat could cause cancer, different types of cancer as well. Not just breast cancer, but other types of cancer, so breast cancer included, yes.
You may well know by now that the awareness creation about breast cancer dies down after October ends. But what many do not know is that an important diagnostic tool, a mammogram, is lacking in the whole of the Bono region. Doctors are always overwhelmed with pressure to act fast to save lives.
And with breast cancer, every day counts, because the more you wait, the more likely it is able to spread to other parts of the body. So sometimes when we suspect it, then we want to act as fast as possible so that we are almost always a step ahead in order to be able to cure the disease.
This is coming from a surgeon who has dealt with breast cancer cases. Currently, there's no functioning mammogram machine in all the public and private hospitals, including laboratories, to run a mammogram scan in the region. This is heartbreaking.
Very worried. The unavailability of diagnostic tools. Old surgeons will tell you that during their time there was nothing, they were working. It's true, but technology has made things easier, and that yields a better outcome than it used to be. So if they were available, it's really, really, really going to help.
My checks at the Sunyani Regional Hospital revealed that the only mammogram machine in the hospital broke down about 3 years ago and has since not been fixed or replaced. In the health sector, a regional hospital serves as a symbol of hope for district and community health facilities within its catchment area. For almost 3 years, these hopes are turning to fears.
I think it's the headache of most doctors working in the district level or even in the communities. Because one will say that in the absence of the mammogram, you can use the ultrasound, and the ultrasound might give you some information that you can use to guide you. But even that, the ultrasound, the operators of the ultrasound, sonographers, and some of our sonographers around are just trained on the job. So how are you even sure of the quality of the work they will do for us? So you still have to rely on your mammogram, which I'm saying is not available at all. So it's very worrisome for every district doctor or doctors that are working in the communities.
The hospital cannot run a mammogram to ascertain the kind of lump a patient may be carrying in her breast. About a 10-minute drive from the regional hospital is the Cross Care Clinic.
Almost every week, we are getting clients, we're getting patients with those conditions coming in and all that. So it tells you that breast cancer is out there and it's really increasing its numbers.
The clinic ran 126 scans in 2020, 190 in 2021, and 189 in 2022. Since 2023 began, the clinic has been receiving requests across the region asking for mammogram scans.
We normally receive requests from Doma, Brekum, Isuatre, Drobo, Sampa, and then also Kentampo, Techiman. Yeah, they all sometimes choose to come here rather than. I think the closest place aside here is Kumasi. So sometimes they prefer coming to Sunyani better than going to Kumasi for the service. Yeah. They walk in every day, every time they come in with their requests. We get them almost every day.
At the Cross Care Clinic, there is bad news.
Our machine broke down in May.
Your machine broke down?
Yes, the machine is broken as we speak. We are still in the process of fixing it. The engineers are still on it. It's quite hectic with the machine. Normally, everything that you need from it, you need to replace will have to come from Germany and all that. So the engineers are still working on it to keep it running. But before the machine broke down, I think on the 4th of May, we had already taken about 40 of them. And then after it broke down, we have booked clients that are also ready to come and take it, which we have about 46 in number waiting in line to come and take it.
And these are referrals, right?
Yes. We don't have that clinic here, so all the people we take are referrals from regional hospital, the municipal hospital, and then the other places I mentioned before.
Patients with suspicious breast cancer conditions continue to walk into the Cross Care Clinic, but the outcome is disappointment.
Personally, I had an experience with one woman coming all the way from Nkrankwanta to Sunyani, coming here and then coming to get to know that the machine is not working. She would have to continue to Kumasi. Probably she never prepared for that journey, So sometimes it's a whole disappointment altogether. So, but those in severe pains, they don't really have any choice but to go.
Hopes dashed, left in pain and confused. To go further or not to go, unimaginable uncertainty. At Cross Care, they were oftentimes left worried about the state at which suspected breast cancer conditions are reported.
The mammogram machine works in such a way that you put the woman's breast onto the machine, and then there is something we call the compressor. It comes and then compresses it, and then that's when it takes the scan of the breast and everything. When it just compresses, you find some that, because it's in a bad state, you see liquids coming out of the breast and all that, which is sometimes very disgusting. But as professionals, we still need to work with it, But those ones, I believe, are in the last stages. So we just hope that it doesn't get to those stages.
In breast cancer diagnosis and treatment, a mammogram is featured largely, but how essential is this tool?
The mammogram is an essential complement. It is not the only thing that is actually needed, and the mammogram by itself does not confirm that it's a cancer. It only tells you that there's a lump in the breast or there's a lesion in the breast that looks suspicious, and then based on that you may have to biopsy and then get the final diagnosis. So it's an important complement that we cannot do away with in managing breast cancer, but the mammogram alone is also not enough to do, so you need to put all these together.
Despite the importance of the mammogram, my checks at every corner there is to check reveal that there's none currently functioning in the Bono region. Between January 1, 2023 and June 30, 2023, the Holy Family Hospital in Blewu alone recorded a total of 6 breast cancer-related cases. All of the 6 had suspicious symptoms of breast cancer and were referred for further examination. In 2022, the hospital recorded 6 cases of the disease and 2 died. A total of 10 cases were also reported in 2021, but 3 passed on. Dr. Jemfi gives details to where suspected cases are referred to from the Blewu Holy Family Hospital.
The last 2 years or so, we had patients going to Sunyani to do the mammogram. But in recent times, I am told that they are not able to access it, and therefore they have to go to Kumasi to get it done.
Sending these patients to Kumasi for the mammogram, when you speak to them, are they willing to go? What's always their response when you refer them to Kumasi?
So it has been a challenge. First, the terrain is not familiar. Moving all the way to Kumasi, you are not sure how you are going to navigate your way in the city with all the traffic. They ask you to go and do the mammogram, the challenges with fans, families who have to accompany you. And sometimes it's not like you just walk in and you go and do the mammogram. You may have to book. So you may have to go and then come back and then return on another day to get it done. So all these things may affect them. And there are a couple of patients that you ask them to go and they may have to delay. Either they don't have people to accompany them, they don't have funds.
Mammogram is basically X-ray of the breast. To just go and take an X-ray, which is expensive, just to show you, and it's not going to free them from their condition. You just need the result in order to make a decision. And when they come back, most likely, if you find an issue, you will refer them again to see an oncologist or a specialist. They just won't go. That is the fact. They just won't go. A few of them occasionally will understand and go, but most of them won't go. A lot of them, when you say go to Konfanochi, they will tell you, Konfanochi, they will call to wait. If you go to Konfanochi, it means we are going to die. But if you say regional hospital, probably they are a bit comfortable because it's quite closer. So that would have even helped in reducing the haste in going for the referrals.
The pain, the worries, the anger, this is certainly a world away from what you would ever imagine. Without a doubt, a lack of a mammogram in an entire region is preventing prompt diagnosis of breast cancer at an early stage and the chances of successful treatment and survival. Sometimes, CHIPS compounds, clinics, and rural hospitals are the first point of call when someone is unwell. About 65 kilometers from Sunyani sits the St. Matthew's Hospital in Wamanafo. During my visit to this hospital, I met this woman on admission, sitting on the hospital bed with gauze covering almost half of her left breast. Dr. Amo says her condition looks suspicious. She was looking emaciated and lacking the voice to speak out.
I don't have money. There is no money. My children are very little. I don't have any job. When it started, an old man in the Zungu gave me a certain cream to apply on the breast. That night, I couldn't sleep.
Patients with suspicious breast conditions continue to live in uncertainty. If you live in Sampa, a town about 3 hours drive from Sunyani, and you need a mammogram scan, you have to travel to Kumasi. To reach there, you have to sit more than 5 hours in a bus, about 239 kilometers road trip to the nearest diagnostic center.
I think that there are some facilities, especially where we have surgeons who deal with breast cancer, to have the mammogram, or even if not in their facilities, it should be close by. For instance, a place like the regional hospital, if we can help people get a mammogram, to the place. A place like Holy Family Hospital. Once I am here and I'm doing this breast cancer surgeries and also the campaign, I will really appreciate if you can have donors who can help get us the mammogram. If you have a few dotted around the corners of the region where people can easily access, not just for the management itself, but for the screening purposes, which is very essential. But once it comes to breast cancer, the screening is one of the most essential tools in the management. But it helps us to detect the cancer very early, and once we detect it early, we can cure it. So I think organizations that can help, individuals that can help, can come together and see how best they can help provide the region with the mammograms, and which once we have these mammogram machines, it will go a long way to help in the fight against breast cancer.
The Bono region is within the middle zone of Ghana. Per the current population census, it has a total population of 1,208,649 residents. But these residents cannot find a place to run a mammogram scan.
Women and girls who are here who have need for this machine and not have access to this machine is very unfortunate and very sad situation.
Since October 2022, the United Ladies Association began a fundraising drive to support the region with 2 mammograms.
We wanted to get to one for the Bono Regional Hospital, which seems to be the biggest, and then another one to support the other 2 regions too. We gave ourselves a year, October 2022 to October 2023, to get the needed funds, but it's proven quite difficult because we don't have a lot of companies in these regions, and the institutions here are normally the government institutions. We've written to the institutions, we've made follow-ups, and it's proven difficult. Getting the funds is proven very difficult, so we are still working, we are still persevering, because this thing is something that will help every home. For one machine, the estimated price for a 3D digital mammogram system was between $25,000 to $35,000. One person cannot do it all. So we need a lot of people to. So times 2 will be $50,000 to $70,000. That's what we are looking at.
It's almost a year now, and not so much has been raised.
So far, we've not gotten up to 10,000 cedis, Ghana cedis yet. But we don't, even if it will take us years, we know we'll get there.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will.